So, good evening, one and all. Our speaker, Dr. Santosh Kumar Mohapatra, has already joined with us. And uh, Preetish, can you mute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, it is his second time on this platform. Earlier, he had given a talk on, uh, you know, imperative of knowledge, I think. And today, he will speak on crumbling institution of marriage and the role of media. And Dr. Mohapatra, intellectually, he is a bilingual, columnist. Educationally, he is an economist, and more importantly, he has gained the status of social thinker by writing on various social issues relating to women and children. And some of his articles have been reproduced in Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi papers too. Some have been also published in noted journals and books. He has written more than 1400 articles in both Odia and English, which has been published in different Odia and English newspaper. In 2017, he has conferred as the best columnist by the Odisha Media Award, and currently his writing has been focusing on various ethical and moral issues. Today is the topic crumbling institution of marriage, the role of media needs an ethical and moral approach to deal with it. If I unpack the title of today's talk, then following questions are coming to my mind. Such questions are, what is the right perception towards the marriage? Marriage should be an institution or marriage should be a choice? Second, is marriage as an institution and as a choice mutually inclusive or exclusive? What are the main problems of marriage as an institution and marriage as a choice? Is marriage as choice replacing marriage as institution today? Why marriages are disturbed today? Is media playing the appropriate role on such issues? What is the appropriate role of media, or what should media, uh, you know, play play its own role? And its society patriarchal and state gender biased? Generally, it is a growing perception the society is patriarchal and state is gender biased. Is it so? So these are some of the questions in my mind on this topic. However, the speaker is absolutely free to pick up his own questions relating to this topic and address it. So before I move to Dr. Mohapatra, let me ask my own PhD student Preetish Sharma, who is working on a topic, Hindu marriage at crossroad, interrogating the role of society and state. Recently, his proposal is going to be passed and he will be registered soon. So I request him to, introduce the theme of today's topic. Yes, Pritish.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the chance to introduce the topic Crumbling Institution of Marriage and the Role of Media. Marriage has been since ancient times one of the most important social institutions, perhaps the greatest institution in the human society. It has always existed in one form or another in every culture, ensuring social sanction for the physical union between men and women, and laying the foundation for building up of the family and the basic unit of the society. The traditional Hindu concept of marriage was enabling one to fulfill dharma, which is socio-cultural and spiritual duties towards the family, community, and society. Praja was social responsibilities towards society, and Rati was pleasure for individual sexual gratification. In pre-modern period, marriage was not meant only for individual gratification, individual interest, but was rather a social duty towards the family and the community. Everyone expected to do their duties. So, in briefly, the pre-modern society marriage was aimed at family construction and was the base for the harmonious relation between the individual, family, and the society. The recent cases of sensational murder of homemaker Priyanka Pridarsani at Bhimatangi in Bhubaneswar, the accused Jagannath Pradhan stated he has lost his sanity and his former girlfriend is responsibility for his misery. The murder of V. Rajkumar, a photographer by profession in Ragada by one of his friends. The reason was extramarital affair with his wife. The increasing acceptance of divorce was dramatically altered the marriage situation. More than the half of couples married in the USA are now divorced each five are now divorced. In India, increasing of divorce is 5 to 7%. NCRB data on accidental death and suicide in India shows that there were over 37,000 suicides for marriage related from 2016 to 2020, out of which 7% of them were due to divorce. The report of Rampal in the year 2021 also shows that the number of women committed suicide due to marriage related issues. And when we talk about the women divorce, has been the reason for 2,600 suicide deaths in the NCRB data in the year 2020. How can we move as a society from gender based law such as IPC 498A, 406, CRPC 125 to a gender neutral laws in context to marriage? As marriage is a union between both husband and wife, domestic violence only limited to women only. A 2020 survey by Glidden found nearly 55% of the married people in India who responded to the survey accepted to having cheated on their partner. 56% of them were women. The study, which was conducted among 1,525 married Indians in the age of 25 and 50, found that 48% of them believed it was possible to love with more than one person at the same time. The Supreme Court have struck down IPC 497, which given an open general license to the people of this country to have illegitimate relationship while also being in marriage. Rose in 1961 pointed out that the new modern concept of husband-wife relationship is not yet clear, and the more modern husband and wives do not know exactly how the role between them should be carried out. Thus, the problem of marriage had now become important because of the role of the spouses, complexity of modern life, emphasis on individual gratification. Today's traditional marriage is considered as a loss of individuality, loss of privacy, lack of freedom, and lack of individual growth. It is the individual, family, society, and state is getting victimized, and media to play the role of collecting the facts, but currently only to gain more television rating points. It has no time to take such an important issues which are directly related to the issues of every person. Sir, I would like to request Dr. Santosh Kumar Mahapatra sir
So
to
thank you, Preetish, for this introduction. I mean, it is your own, so I have not checked it. Okay, I think in the light of this introduction, I think you know, though we belong to, or I personally belong to political science, but political science is a part of social science, and when society is affected, so I think we must discuss, debate on social issues. And I think for me, marriage is a political event today because state intervention is there, rules, regulations are there. You know, in marriage related crisis, the people talk about political concepts. Right? So, with this introduction, I request Dr. Mahapatra to start his deliberation. Yes, Dr. Mahapatra. I think you have to, right now it's okay.
Just कि just there will be some disturbance हो गया.
Have patience. I mean, very soon the speaker will join with us. He's having some technical problem. It is right now okay. Yeah. Now you have to unmute yourself and we can hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening to all. Many thanks to Dr. Himanshu Sekhar Mishra for taking such initiative regularly. Really, I am very much impressed by the approach and attitude of Dr. Mishra. Because when people, academicians are running for recognition, money, not all, not very much serious about this accumulation of knowledge. He's taking special interest and regularly organizing seminars, webinars. So it is definitely because I have such attitude. So I am very much impressed. Then thank you, Dr. Mishra, my dear student friends, and those faculties who are watching this. Especially, this is a social topic. I am a student of economics, and you all are associated with politics. Political science, not politics exactly, political science. But social issue is not inseparable. It cannot be separated from political science or economics or everything, because everything is linked with society. Uh, our purpose of education is to sustain a good life, to create a good society, to grow, help the human being to grow, create a social trust, all those things. Very important thing that everybody should lead a happy life. So when question of leading a happy life comes, then definitely we cannot ignore what is happening in society. Because everything, even you may be rich, you may be powerful positions, you cannot remain happy. Your children cannot remain happy if society is polluted, contaminated. Because there is a growing mistrust in society, violence, rape, and murders. People have become greedy, insensitive, arrogant, violent, vindictive. So when these bad qualities are growing, so how much money, power you have, you cannot remain happy because you have to move in outside. Your children have to go to school, college, institution, or for jobs. So it is a very important thing, irrespective of one may be student of economics, political science, or any topic. He has to really, he has to think about the society. That is the most important thing. So I am very happy uh, that today a very important topic has been chosen for discussion. Though it is what I will discuss. I not as a academician or a student of sociology, as a social thinker. What I understand society, that is the most important thing, and particularly role of a media is very also important to think about this. When coming into the topic, the crumbling institution of marriage and a role of media. We will keep the role of media for the latter part of our discussion. First, we will come into the institution of marriage. Exactly, before going to the marriage, marriage is a part of life. Life has various stages, childhood to till death. Sometime at student stage or earning stage or pre-retirement, retirement, all are stages. Once life is incomplete, unless one passes all those phases of life. So marriage is an important part of life. It is the most important turning part of life because one have to cope with another person, another unknown person. That is the very, very vital thing and the most important part of life is marriage. Life, what do you understand life? Life is not just to mean for enjoyment. Life means to adjustment with the grim reality of society, adjusting with the emotions of others, other adjustment with the feeling of others. In a life, it is not too difficult to get a big job or to get a established in your society. But the most difficult thing in life is to make others happy in their family or in a society because people do not see the what you have contributed to them. People see what you fail to contribute to them. So in life, it is very difficult to adjust with others. And particularly most difficult thing is to dealing with a human being. Because human mind is a mechanism is yet to be unraveled. Science has yet to discover or unravel what is happening in human mind, why he is thinking, what he is thinking, when thinking, why it is thinking and sleeping, why it is irrational, why it is irrational, why human being knows everything that killing a person is bad, or drinking is bad, or smoking is bad, or wearing not helmet is bad, or violating rule regulation is bad. Still, man is highly not acting rationally always. That is the most important thing. So human life is basically it is adjustment with the grim reality of the society. That is the most difficult thing. And the most difficult thing is to become a successful father, successful brother, successful uh, brother in the your successful mother, successful daughter, or successful sister. It's the most difficult thing in life. So marriage is one of the important aspect of life. It is the most important turning up point of life. Then question is comes, so what is marriage? A marriage is a union of two unknown hearts or two unknown families. Family after marriage, family come into discussion. So marriage is a union of two unknown persons. Both belong to different sexes, opposite sexes. It is a very important thing is that just not objective of marriage is not only a procreation or a sexual gratification. The very objective of marriage is to sharing one's emotions, sharing one's feelings, sharing one's well-beings, sharing one's thought. That is only possible when you get a person who is close to you. That only your spouse who can be very close to you. Oh, oh, hello, hello.
Uh, yes, yes, we can hear you.
Uh,
Now you
okay.
can continue.
Uh, only important thing is that marriage unite to unknown person, to unknown heart. That is a biggest institution. It may be question arise whether you are it is a institution by choice. What I say, marriage is an institution. It is not by choice. Choice means when if you can think marriage as a choice, when you say it is only the objective of marriage is sexual satisfaction, then we can say it is marriage by choice. But the objective of a marriage is not only sexual satisfaction, sharing emotions, thoughts, feeling, economic security, procreation, emotional bondage, all important factors. It is no doubt. It is the sexual relation that unites two unknown person within a second. That is the most important thing. But to sustain the institution of marriage, It requires a lot of sacrifice, adjustments. You see, with the passage of time, after you are having children, then you are going become older, then your attachment is not only linked with the sexual gratification, it is linked with the emotional attachment. How you are, there is a more emotion between husband and wife. Even in old age, when one expires, one spouse expires, another feel very lonely because lack of person to he lacks person to share one's emotion. Important thing is that why I am calling marriage an institution, because it teaches many things. Institution means we learn from an institution. For example, one university, because it is an institution because we learn in university. Marriage and institution, because we learn from the marriage. Because what we marriage, we may learn what is the society, what is the human being, what is the emotions, what is the consequence of losing someone near and dear ones, how to adjust with the others, how to share one's feelings. One man learns from his, not only learn from books, one learns from day-to-day activities, from society, by the process of with the passage of your marriage, one learns. So marriage is an institution. We cannot say it is just by choice. So marriage is an important thing. It is an institution undoubtedly. The difference is when the marriage took place, we say the ceremony as a wedding ceremony. But marriage means from starting to wedding till death. Marriage continued from wedding to till death, and it has no substitute. It has no substitute because it's necessary for sustaining the society, for sustaining a new generation. Because if there will be no marriage, or there will be no physical relation between two opposite sexes, then there will be no procreation. Society cannot be sustained. So important thing is that it is an institution, not it is by choice, and it should be inclusive, not exclusive. Before going to that topic, we must discuss what are type of marriage. That is one important thing is that what are type of marriage. One thing is that one type of a marriage is a monogamy. Monogamy means having one spouse. One man will marry another woman, or one woman will marry another woman. That is, it is divided by two types: serial monogamy and non-serial monogamy. Serial monogamy means one will marry one, but after a divorce or after death, he can marry another, or she can marry another persons. But non-serial monogamy means one will have only one spouse, even after death she will or he will not marry. That has happened in the life of Lord Rama, who has not married when Sita was banished. He did not marry when Sita, exactly we can say when she committed one sort of suicide. It is not exactly suicide, but when she left this maiden world, so he did not marry again. That is, we can say, non-serial monogamy. Another type is type of marriage is polygamy. Polygamy means having multiple spouses. One will have many wives, or one wife will have many husbands. So that is polygamy. It is also divided. It is polygyny. Polygyny means it refers to the marriage in which man marries multiple women at a time. Each of the wives lives in a separate household. That is, polygyny means one marries multiple women, and they remain in different places, not in one places. Another, it is also divided two parts: sororal polygyny. That means when one marry one's wife's sisters, then it is a sororal polygyny. Another is a non-sororal polygyny, means one marries not the wife of sisters, not wife sisters, some others. But another important thing is polyandry. Polyandry means in which women gets married to multiple men. That has happened in case of we have seen in Draupadi had married. That is another thing. She married in a different situation. Polyandry is the type of marriage in which woman gets married to multiple men, and it is also divided two types: fraternal polyandry and non-fraternal polyandry. Fraternal polyandry means when one marries brothers. Non-fraternal means non-brother. They are not brothers. Similarly, endogamy. Endogamy is also referred to group marriage. Group marriage and type of marriage in which some men marry some women and every one of the women is the wife of every man. It is endogamy. Similarly, endogamy can be kind of marriage in which one marries within one's own group. And for example, tribal endogamy. Another important thing is exogamy. Exogamy is the kind of marriage when one marries outside one gotra, village, caste, and so many things. And there are also different type of marriage. One is Anuloma marriage, Pratiloma marriage, interfaith marriage. Anuloma marriage means a man from higher caste marries lower caste. Anuloma, Pratiloma means man from lower caste marries a woman from higher caste. Interfaith or interreligious marriage means marrying a marriage between the persons belong to different religions, which is prohibited or restricted in almost all religions, though it happens. Another thing is incest taboo. That means marriage between blood relation, which is also morally prohibited and scientifically also prohibited. It has a more detrimental impact. Now, coming to our discussion, marriage can be arranged marriage, marriage can be law marriage, marriage can be love come arranged marriage, marriage can be forced marriage. So, which type of marriage is the best marriage? That is a very important thing and a debatable point. That must be what the question must be creeping in the mind of student friends. What type marriage is good? It is basically nobody can tell which type of marriage is will be good for him or her. It depends upon one's rational approach. Some cases, law marriage is good. Some cases, in arranged marriage is good. Some cases, forced marriage is never good. It is never good because that is restrict. That is not good as per all law, and so it may be also good for law of arranged marriage. Particularly, we are a society where arranged marriage is basically given stress. As per as various survey, NDTV survey or other survey, around 90% marriage are arranged marriage. And there was a survey, around 73% youth told that they prefer arranged marriage. And in overall in the world, arranged marriage is around 40%, but it is America, it is very less. As far as law marriage, it is around more in Western society, but in India it is very less. Forced marriage, I am not in favor of at all in forced marriage. But other three type law come arranged marriage or law marriage or arranged marriage, I am in favor of this, provided depending upon the situation. That is the most important thing. We go on discussing one by one. First thing is, let us discuss about the implication of arranged marriage. In a few years back, or it may be some years back, there was a arranged marriage was given priority. In arranged marriage, fathers or parents or relatives or middlemen, so they give proposals. Then they sometimes when proposal comes from parents or other sides, so if parents agree, then children usually accept this proposal. So in past, children even couple were not used to see both each other before marriage. In arranged marriage, it is now they are interacting, discussing. In past 30, 40 years back, they were not even seeing before the marriage. Still, they were successful. Why arranged marriage was successful in past? It is even today successful. The reason is that uh, age has a impact in the deciding in, what is good and bad. Parents sees what is how one can be remain in the good positions. They see other aspect. They are not swayed by only emotions or beauty or handsomeness or only figure. They think about family status, caste, their antecedents. So all factors contributes to the success of marriage. Particularly, there may be question in your mind whether intercaste marriage or interfaith marriage is good or bad. My views is that society has a different rule. Society, we cannot ignore the society fully. But my philosophy is that it is not question of intercaste or interfaith or interreligious. Question is your position status should be same, because it is not marriage, it is not only the based on a sexual relation, because it is sharing emotions, thoughts, feelings, status, sharing one's knowledge. So there should be equivalent. If exactly not equivalent, once both partner or both family should be in same line. For example, one is intellectual, he we should prefer, or his children is intellectual, he should prefer a family who have similar culture. Suppose one is born in a industrialist family, he should choose or she should choose a family of a similar nature, business oriented. Suppose one is in a political one is a born in a politician family or grown in a politician family, he should choose similar type of family. So there will be not be much difference and difficulties in the future. It is what my views is that interrelated, intercaste, interreligious or other marriage. It is this is I am not I am not concerned with this. I am concerned with the status, knowledge, ideology, thoughts, process. For example, one's ideology is very left leaning. Another ideology is very rightist leaning or reactive, something different. If both family get give in their children's marriage, in latter stage there may be also conflict. So similarly, that is my point is that status, way of living, objective should be more or less, if not similar, that should be the criteria for selecting partner or giving your daughter or son in marriage. That is the most important thing. But caste or other facts. But what is important thing? There was in past when we are living in village, caste has impact. The way of life was very much influenced by the profession. Today, profession has changed. Everybody is doing jobs. So when belonging to all caste, Brahmin, Karan, or SC, ST, all are employed. So they are now, their caste is not SC, ST, or Brahmini or Karan. They are just employees. So there can be marriage among their families. So that is my point of view is that it is marriage should be before marriage we should see the So, but a social linkage, social similarity, a parity, status parity, because there will be no problem in the future. That is the most important thing. You mean marriage, it is not just a union of two person, unknown person, it is a union of family relations. That is important. Marriage is also institution where you do not live for only your for spouse, you live for your children, you live for your family, you live for your father, mother, sister, brother, you have to live for your father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law. So that part of your life, you cannot confine today. Younger generation are confining their life into only wife, children. That is wrong. That concept is wrong. Joint family is crumbling. But my concept is that when you think of family, when institution of marriage, you have to satisfy. Also, you have to keep to happy other members of family. That no, otherwise your marriage cannot be termed as successful. You if you cannot keep your father, mother, sister, brother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, because they are also equally important. So happy, or if you cannot keep relation with them, then you cannot say that your marriage is successful. You can say if you are happy with your spouse, then you can say that your conjugal life is successful, your marriage life is successful. But you cannot say, if you cannot keep the others happy, you cannot say that your institutional marriage has become a success. So that is the institutional marriage is much bigger than that is a conjugal life. That is the important point what I want to tell. The important thing what I was discussing, arranged marriage, love marriage, love or arranged marriage. In arranged marriage, parents were able to see the reality, future prospect. They were not driven emotionally. It has also drawback, as both spouses do not know each other before marriage. Sometimes it becomes too difficult to adjust. Another important thing is that earlier marriage was successful. There was no divorce, though there was no extramarital relation, very rare, because they were obeyed by social customs. And what was the important thing? There was a imposition of, there was a restriction on women in the name of chastity. You see the Purana, Mahabharata, Ramayana, always it is chastity is linked with the women only, not men. That is the wrong thing. I do not agree with this concept. It should be linked with both men and women. And in past, women was subjugated to patriarchal restriction. They were not allowed to move. They were not able to express their sexual desire openly. They were not ventilated their feeling. So the one section was suppressed, another section was not suppressed. So there cannot be difference disturbance if one is suppressed or one is made to be subservient or submissive to another section. So women in past, women were made to subservient, submissive. They were had to maintain chastity. They were responsible for the maintaining the married life. They were responsible to make the happy. So they were tolerating. That is, they do not able to react. That is why arranged marriage was successful. One of the reason. But today, what is happening? Today, the people, the youth are coming for love marriage. In some cases, love marriage becoming without parents' approval. In some cases, with the parents' approval. When it is parents' approval, then we can say it is a love come arranged marriage, which is a good thing. Love come arranged marriage is good, but without parent approval, it is not good. Why I am telling? Two aspect. It has both a positive aspect and both negative aspect. It is true. In some cases, parents may be influenced by social position, status, their wealth. that also influence their selection process. So they do not understand the feeling of their child. That may happen. But another aspect is the point of view, are our youth are quite mature to select their spouse, select their life partner. Our judiciary court allows that once one is an adult or a marriageable age, nobody can prevent wherever they marry. Legally, they are entitled to marry once they have crossed that age. Parents' approval is meaningless. Parent can approve, parent can disapprove. But it has the serious consequence because very few youth are able to decide their life partner rationally. That is the main criteria failure of the law marriage. Because Bombay High Court has given verdict that divorces are more in case of law marriage than arranged marriage. That's why there is more divorces in law marriage. That is the most thing. Why there is extramarital relationship? Why there is a premarital relationship? Why there is so many divorces? Why many family marriage life are crumbling? Institutional marriage is crumbling. What you are main objective of topping? That is that needs to be discussed. That is the important thing because in law marriage, when both a girl boy meet each other, or either in school or a college or in any sphere, they do not understand the grim reality of life. Their love is emotion driven, not reality driven. That is the most important thing. It is not that we must be very frank because uh, there is always attraction between two opposite poles. So there is always attraction between two opposite sexes. It is not that when we are students of a school, college, we do not have such emotions. We had also emotions, we also feelings. It happens in whether you are good or bad person. It happens in everybody's mind. If it does not in your mind, then you are not you are not a physically fit person. You are unfit. You are not a human being. But good persons only regulate their desire. They control their decision is driven by conscience, not driven by emotions. That is the most important. Because in youth stage, those who are reading in college or universities, they are emotion driven. They do not, when they meet each other, they do not tell about their family. They do not tell, they tell their weakness. They do not tell whether they have affairs with others persons. They do not tell their weakness. They tell only their positiveness. They promise to bring the moon for others. They promise that they will sacrifice everything. Life is not a drama. We must remember. Life is not a drama. Life is a reality. That is the most important point of what I want to tell. In drama or opera, I regularly see opera in night. While writing or reading, I also used to see regular every day. Most of time I see. Life is not a drama. Life is a reality. That must understand the youth. Why not a drama? In drama, villains dies. Villain tortures hero, heroines, other skills. In the finally, hero wins. Their love wins. But in reality, that does not happen. Villains most of time wins. In reality, and love in the drama, opera, story, film is not the same as a love in the reality. When, as a male person, if you do not have money, then your wife, your children will not pay respect to you because you are unable to fulfill their desire. If you do not pay medicine, your parents will not like you that my son is neglecting me. Money also plays important role. So when youth are emotionally attached before marriage, they do not think of the reality. They are they are do not think always. Most of them do not think rationally. That is the most problems. They do not know where in which what should be the qualification, what should be the position of my spouse. But when emotion driven, when they face the reality of life, when the grim reality of life, then they crumble. Then quarrel starts. Then argument starts. Then each starts to blame each other. Each starts to blame each other parents. Each start to blame each other caste. Each start to each other family members. Then the divorce starts. That is the important. Another thing is demerit of love marriage. That is obsessive love disorder. In case, what is obsessive love disorder? Obsessive love disorder means that is one type of disease which a patient is unable to know. That is the most important thing. That can happen to everybody. That can happen every youth. You nobody say he may be a brilliant student, he may be a IS officer, he may be a OS officer, he may be academician, he can also suffer such type of disease because we must understand disease physical and mental. Do you think that good people do not suffer mental disease? They suffer sleep disorder, they suffer mental anxiety. When you have a human body, you have a physical disease, mental disease. So obsessive disorder, one type of disorder that every sensitive good person can also, good youth can suffer. What they think probably the opposite sex is the best possible partner for me. They think that nobody can replace that person. They think that they want to protect that person by any means. They sacrifice their family, they ignore their family, they ignore their status, they ignore the reality. Then they marry sometimes. They sometimes fail to marry, they sometimes marry. When they marry, they become successful at that time. But when grim reality comes, then everything crumbles, so divorce happens. That is the most important thing. And another important thing is deceiving. Now, there is a mistrust. In past, there was a love marriage or arranged marriage. There was not so mistrust. And basically, in past, when we are student, at that time there was a love marriage, but there was never a physical relation before marriage. This is only emotional attachment. Emotional attachment happens everybody's case. I can say, is there any human being in this earth? He had never developed any emotional attachment with any opposite sex. He may not tell this. He may not or she may not express this, but that happens in the mind because this is the basic instinct of a human. We must accept. They, but they do not tell. The emotional weakness, emotional attachment, it is part of life. It is part of youth. That is nothing. Even after marriage, after 70, 80, people have developing emotional attachment. But at that time in the past, they had never gone for sexual relation, physical relation. Only they were going for before, after marriage. But present crisis is today, we are influenced by Western culture. We are emulating celebrities. Society today, internet is flooded with pornography. Film is flooded with pornography. Mind thoughts are perverted. Youth are destroyed. And they are enticing opposite sex for sexual relations. Sometimes women are, girls are indulging, advancing. Sometimes male are advancing. And what is happening problem? When they are failing to marriage, then they are crumbling. When they before marriage, when they are becoming parents, then they are not able to accept what we saw every day in the televisions. Another thing is that in the past, our ethics behavior was influenced by our professions. A teacher, for example, who was just behaving students as fathers. A policy was thinking he's a custodian of all rule regulation. A judge was thinking that my responsibility to pronounce verdict, I should make myself clean. So professional ethics was maintained and their life behavior was influenced by their professional thing, but there was also exception. There was some exception. But today, there is a growing incest relation between blood, relations between different age group, lower age, higher age group, among the relations. This is just gradually teacher, students, or different relation, which is very painful to see in media. That is what is more disturbing. Media is showing this frequently. Uh, exactly what my point of view. In the past, there was emotion attachment. People have successful. It was fructified as well. Some cases it was failing. So there was no problem. But in present society, going for a physical relation is destroying the environment, destroying the future of many talent has been destroyed because going in the wrong way. Because when you develop such type of illicit relations, then definitely your study will be affected. You will be mentally disturbed. You will be not be that much of honest in your approach. You will not be feel confident. So you have to control this. What I again want to point out the your because we when we are student we have that emotion. You will have emotion, but for the sake of a society, emotion is a part of a human being. That is, it is not, I am not telling that is a crime, or I am not telling it is a sin, a virtue or vices. It is not question. Question of a reality. Question of I am reading. My future is uncertain. What should I do? My role is to get established in a society, to get a job. After getting established, I am not telling only you get job, but you have to make in dent in society. You have to make yourself famous in society. You should mark in society. You should get your established. After establishment, after you should not be known by your parents. You should not be known by others. You should be known by your name. Your parents should be known by you. So you should reach that stage. Then, but after getting establishment, then you can marry. When you marry, you have to see other aspect. It is not only the beauty is the only criteria. You have to see the reality, other aspect. Otherwise, marriage cannot be successful. So that is my point of view. Is that I am neither against love marriage nor arranged marriage or intercaste marriage, but it should be a reality, should not be missed. Emotion driven marriage cannot. It is true. Love comes from emotions. Out of love comes from emotions, but we have to be reality driven, not emotion driven. And another thing is that we have learned Puran, Mahabharata, Krishna. Lord Krishna was loving Radha, but he did not marry Radha. He married another. Why it happened? Because then reality outweighs the emotions. That is the thing. We must understand. We must learn the things. But one should not must be reality. And what is happening today, what is dangerous today, it is not only going for physical relation before marriage. Another important thing is there is a deception, there is a cheating, there is a fraudulent motive. People, for example, in some cases, male are trying to marry a daughter of rich persons, established person to acquire wealth. They are becoming successful in some cases. That is happening. In some cases, women are also luring men, and they are also blackmailing them and accumulating wealth. And we see in social media, sometimes somebody comes and put into troubles or drag into controversy or send some message, videos, and if by knowingly, unknowingly you commit a mistake, then you will pay penalty throughout your life. Then if you neither you can disclose nor you can tolerate, then your life will be miserable. So that is the most important thing, that today youth are emotion driven. They are unable to understand reality. They are also understand the fraudulent, deceptive mentality of another person. That is very difficult to know when your life is emotion driven. One can learn only life when he faces difficulties. For example, if we tell our past to our children how we are struggling, how we are struggling for money, how we are going to school by just wearing a slipper, using umbrella or bicycle, or leading a very difficult life with shortage of money, so we are not able to eat what we want. That help us to grow, become a man of principle, honest, that regulated our life. But if we tell our children, they will think that it is a story. They will not accept. So my point of view is that marriage is something different from love, emotions, and a love emotion does not means you should go for a physical relation before marriage. Love emotion does not means it should be always converted into marriage, but it should have it has it meaning is a forgiveness or a sacrifice. Sacrifice. Those who are modern youth, they should know that in the past everybody, those old or younger, they had emotion, they have some develop weakness, then they adjust with the reality. So neither intercaste marriage, nor interfaith marriage, nor love marriage, nor arranged marriage, anything. If I can only tell one thing, when you are selecting your partner or institution of marriage, you should see the reality. You should see the same level, your level of status, others' level of status, not only status, level of thinking, level of ideology, level of family. Intellectual family should not go for a business family. An intellectual family should not go to a political family. That will, in future, there may be a family disturbances. That happens. So anyway, it is very difficult to tell this. And next important thing is that what is happening today in society. Many marriages are crumbling. Divorce is increasing rapidly. That is because of influence of society. And in past, marriage was a social obligation, institution of marriage. It was a institution of sacrifice, adjustment, uh, all these things. Today, gradually, marriage concept of marriage is gradually confining to sensual pleasure, sex gratification. It is one important aspect of marriage. It is one important aspect of a marriage. Even first important aspect of, because that unites to unknown heart, to unknown person within a second. But if entire institution of marriage is only decided will be sensual pleasure, hedonism, then that is why society is crumbling today. That is why premarital, extramarital affairs is growing. It is whether it is a crime or I am not discussing. It is, you must be reality. What happens today? Even some are exchanging their spouses. They are going from different places for enjoyment. What happens when one goes from one person to another person? That creates disturbance in the society. It is what happens if father goes somewhere, mother goes somewhere, children goes somewhere, then family destroyed, family is destroyed, culture is destroyed. So we have to uh, uh, be guided by certain rule regulation. We have to honor the institution of marriage. It is not whether it is, I am not telling it is a crime or it is a sin or it is a bad or it is a unnecessary. or everybody do not have such desire, everybody has such desire. That is not wrong. But you have to see what your life is a important thing, and you do not know what will happen before marriage or after marriage. You have to what you have to see what you have contributed to society, positive way or negative way. So you have to contribute to the society in a positive way to improve our culture, to make life pleasant. Now coming to the important two things I will deal: role of media, and another thing, important thing is that what have changed. In past, sustaining marriage was mainly depending upon women. Now, sustaining marriage has to depending upon both men and women. Both have equal role. So we must understand. Second thing is, it is no doubt to women are physically weak. That is why they are physically tortured or raped or murdered more. Uh, but more stress, family responsibility are borne by male. That must understand that society is completely ignoring the plight of male who bears, who have to cope with the more stress of the family, even more than women. Women does more homework, but stress borne by more by men. That was the important thing. Both male and female have to now cope with this. Another important thing, remarriage and extramarital. I am against premarital and extramarital relationship, but I am not against the remarriage at any stage. I am not against remarriage at any stage because suppose one spouse is expired, one's love, affection, commitment should be when he is alive. But one's life should not be miserable after death of another. So at any stage, society should allow, whether it is 30 or 40 or 70, 81, its partner. Because in a joint, now nuclear family, parents are alone, they can marry, but that should be legally. There can be remarriage legally, but after death of a spouse or after divorce. But when your spouse is present, no question of extramarital, premarital should be allowed, and it should be severely penalized by law. Now, important thing is now coming to the last chapter of my topic. That is role of media. That is the most important thing. Media has a important role. One, it must be financially viable. If not financially viable, then how can it pay salary? How can it exist? It cannot exist. So it has to show program, some TRP oriented program, and it should seek advertisement. We must understand the grim reality of media. Media has to also financially viable, but many media are struggling today. After Corona pandemic, they are struggling. That is happening problem. And without black money, it is also very difficult to open a media. That is a very real, grim reality. But another aspect is the social responsibility. Media has got a social responsibility. Media should not be influenced by the taste and preference of the people. Rather, media should influence the taste and preference of the people in a positive way. That is the important thing. For example, there are certain things which should be confined to the four wall of the house. Everybody wants to love it, to see it, like it, but society wants that it should be confined to the four wall of the house for a betterment of the society, but a culture of the society, for improvement of the society. But media, social media, electronic media, internet are bringing the nudity, vulgarity to the public forum, in public sphere. That is damaging the society, particularly damaging the youth. because we are aged, we are matured, we are married, it will not going to affect our mind at all. But those are teenage, those are say 17, 18 or 20, they may get destroyed and also getting some destroyed. Those who are not able to control them, or parents are not able to control them, they are now facing a lot of problems. So that should not be confined. What now media is doing, they are bringing the discussion of the inner house family, a picture of the four walls to public, that is destroying our culture. And their role when there is a diverse or there is a difference, is there any human being in the society or any couple in the society who did not have disturbances, who did not have quarrels, who do not have a difference of opinion? Everybody has. Everybody has, only degrees varies person to person. Because you, when you different person, you have to adjust with it after marriage. Then even both are good, there may be difference, there may be arguments. That happens. But media policy should solve the problems. Instead of the solve the problems, they are taking the interview, they are for TRP, they are showing it frequently, they are destroying the culture, and they are deriving advertisement for this. They are glorifying these such activities. If somebody has caused a problem or have a extramarital relationship or destroyed one's family life, then whether she is a celebrity or a star or a sports person, why media is glorifying them, or why media is going to interview them? Why media is showing them? Why media is showing the personal life of a celebrity? Media can show the film. Media should not enter into the personal life of anybody. Their family color, their disturbance life, their conjugal life, all this only media can do. They should guide them. They should solve the problem. They should educate the society. They should educate the society how to cope with this stress. So media is failing. And as far as our society is a patriarchal society. Patriarchal society does not mean it is a male dominated society, but it does not mean the patriarchal mindset is only associated with the male. Patriarchal society means male dominance, means it is associated with both male and female. A woman wants a son. Sometimes father wants a daughter, a woman wants a son. One daughter-in-law is exploited more by mother-in-law and sister-in-law, not father-in-law or brother-in-law. That happens. So our society give weightage to more son, children's male child. So it is a patriarchal society, because they think that a male member or a male child will be a source of a security in the future, which has a change today. We have to change in mind. But physically they are stronger. That much we have to accept, because a male can move, your son can move in a late night, but your daughter cannot move. That is the grim reality we must have to accept. Most important thing is that we have a gender gap. In gender gap index, we have around 135 position. That means behind it 134 countries. It will it will take around 200 years to close the gender gap. In gender equity index, even we are position is 125. That is behind 124 countries. And what is most important things? Women are subject to violence at home. They are either life partner or their relations. 30% of the violence against or crime against committed by their husband or relatives. When they are subject to torture, criminal activities, crime by their own husband or relation, then how can we expect society change? That is the most important. But simultaneously, also you must also think many parents, many father-in-law or daughter, they are not taken care of by their daughter-in-law. When a lady is getting married, with a male member, she has to also think of her father-in-law, mother-in-law, the family. But they are confined to their family, only husband, wife, and children. That is happening. That is also important aspect. And what in our patriarchal society, we should not expect independence, 100% independence. It is not that equal does not mean one male should, while the woman will cook rice, a male will cook the dal. No, one should do the job which is best suited. For example, when we are going in a bus, there is a one seat. Husband is standing, he is allowing the wife to sit. When both are going to the say station, they have child. When the wife is carrying child, husband is carrying luggage. When your guest is coming, when woman is preparing tea, husband is going the market for purchase of materials. So when you are driving vehicle, in the most of cases, husband are driving, wife are sitting. So equality does not means that means as many women activists tell, one should prepare a rice, another should prepare dal. No, 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 that is wrong. That means one should do the best suited, but one should have a independent, equal, independent decision and economic decision, and that can be feasible when women try for jobs, when women earning. In most of time, I tell advise the women, then why you should not try to earn something? Why you should ask your husband that pay some rupees, I want to take some sweets or fruits from my parents? No, they should be independent, they should earn, but they should be obedient to their parents. They should also understand the problem of their husbands. Because when one woman enter into another family, a husband has got a social obligation to his father, mother, sisters, others. When a lady marry a male, she also has to think the problem of her husband. Equally, husband also, male member has to carry the responsibility of his wife's parents. If there is nobody to look after the parents of his wife, then he has got responsibility. So that is really happening. We cannot blame only male. We can blame society. This is a societal problems. When both men and can be made responsible, both men and can to adjust, and particularly this is the grim reality in a society which we must understand. And finally, hope I have covered almost all points that I was thinking. Exactly, marriage is an institution. It is not a choice. Marriage it unites two persons, unknown persons. It is because of sexual intimacy. That is the most important criteria driving to unknown person, opposite sex. But emotional sharing feelings, thoughts, emotions, security, all are gradually take priority while the sexual relation recedes with the passage of age. It is your life is full of experiences. Your life is incomplete unless you pass all those stages of life from childhood to old age. So I am not a student of sociology, never have studied sociology nor a political science. What I told out of my thinking thoughts, what I have learned from society. Most of I again one will say most difficult thing is to deal with human beings. It is most difficult to think to become a successful, to lead a successful married life, to become a successful parents, to successful father, mother. Even you may be good, you may not be. If your partner is good, not good, then you have a problem. Even if you may be good, if your children do not accept you or do not receive, you may have a problem. So that happen in the society. It is very difficult to judge from a person outside seeing, and media has a got responsibility. Media does not know who has a wrong, who has committed mistake, what is happening in the four walls of the house. They should not bring all those matters into public. They should not show the incest. They should not show the sexual relation in publicly. They should not misguide the youth. They should only do, preach, discuss which really sustain the institution of marriage, which really make the married life happy. We are born, we do not know where we have come, we do not know after that where will we go. Life is precious, it should be utilized in a positive way. We must contribute the society in a positive way. Thank you all, thank you organizer, thank you students, thank you faculty, those who have given patience hearing. With this, I conclude my speech. Thank you, namaste.
So thank you, Dr. Mohapatra. I think in one sentence, if I'll summarize your talk, that marriage, to be successful, it has to be an institution, and marriage as an institution needs the support from multiple stakeholders. For example, marriage needs the support of individual, support of society, support of state, support of media, and support of uh, intelligentsia or ideology, right? uh, See, what is the responsibility of the individual? The responsibility of the individual is to think beyond the physical pleasure, to think what is the ultimate utility or higher utility for themselves, right? And what is the responsibility of the society? Society's responsibility is to support the individual, right? uh, when a person is marrying, that person is not marrying for himself or herself. He is or she is doing responsibility towards the family, towards the state, towards this generation, towards the state, and towards the humanity. So, I mean, marriage is a very, very difficult responsibility. I used to tell, getting PhD degree is easy, but sustaining a good marital life is very difficult. And let me tell that the parents of the boy's side, they must have some responsibility towards the daughter-in-law. At the same
Yes.
time, the parents of girl child, they should also maintain a principal distance from their daughters or from their son-in-law's life. There will be disturbance, but intervention, if intervention is required, it should be positive. It should not be negative. And always, uh, you know, blaming society because of for its patriarchal value in the mind of girl child, it is also, or it may bring destruction in the society. Who is not patriarchal? We have patriarchal values in us, right? So why should I claim that I am not patriarchal and you are patriarchal, right? It's a matter of only time. Today I am against patriarchy, tomorrow I will be the agency of patriarchy, whether it is a patriarchal society or matriarchal society, but these are the two forms of society. Now society is sustaining because of these patriarchal values, and today we are challenging that patriarchy, challenging that matriarchy. In return, what we get? We get a kind of anarchical situation, right? So this is the responsibility of the society. And what is the responsibility of the state? Now state should bring such rules and regulation that will that should not go against the society, that should always encourage individual towards the higher utility. My question is to the speaker, does the state do so? Let me give you example. IPC 497. Now the adultery, I mean, what was the 49 IPC 497? If a woman is involved in the adultery, then she will not be penalized. But if the man is involved, then man will be penalized. Now, recently, this adultery was delegalized. That means if women are free, men are free. Now, my position is that why the Supreme Court took such a decision? Why the Supreme Court didn't give punishment to the women who is involved in the adultery. I mean, in what way our state, our Supreme Court, even police also knows that most of the 498 domestic violence, right, most of the complaint are false complaint, and that's why state government has ordered not to suddenly arrest the accused person. So I am also critical about the state's responsibility towards the marital issue. And media I mean I mean let me take this responsibility to tell that that media is no more the fourth pillar of Indian democracy.
That is correct.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell. I mean, who are those persons who are involved in the media, right? So we are seeing there is a very dirty politics in the media. I mean, the reporter who are going and asking question, who is sending them and what they are asking. I mean, I'm really very surprised. I mean, I can say that media is more polluting the society rather constructing the society. I'm
Correct.
really, who is debating, who is reporting, and who is anchoring. I mean, media must realize that it has a responsibility towards the democracy, right? And coming to the last, that is intelligentsia or ideology. Why I am bringing ideology? Let me tell you one ideology, that is post feminism. Now, to post feminism, the priority the woman should give to the career, not to the marriage and motherhood. Now, I mean, the career cannot be the end. Career is a means to an end. And what is that end? That end is your contribution towards the society. Okay, if you don't like marriage, it's okay. But think that it is your duty, it is your social responsibility. You have to give it back to the society. You are here because your parents, they got married each other. Now what you are doing, now such kind of ideology, such kind of intelligentsia, it is also quite disturbing for me. And most of the women, they are also, I mean, almost all are career oriented. If my husband is a professor, then I will be a professor, but what about the child? You did everything to establish a nuclear family. Now you are alone, and who will take care of your child? And I mean, Dr. Mohapatra has rightfully mentioned, to sustain a family, it requires certain kind of sacrifice. Now, who will sacrifice for whom? And we are saying that, it's my right. The understanding of right, many people understand right in a very wrong sense. Right means there is a corresponding duty. I cannot claim my right until and unless I have not done my duty towards you. But am I practicing it? Or whenever I am using this term, am I really critical? Am I really understanding all these points? So that's why I think there is a kind of reflection in our society. Today we are seeing, people are going, people are taking marriage as a kind of choice. They are having physical relation and they are coming and sitting before the in-laws, house. Media is going, and some of the spouse. I mean, I'm not saying the woman's spouse or man's spouse, they are also committing suicide, and this suicide is caused by this act of adultery, extramarital affairs. And this extramarital affairs is a legal kind of thing. For example, if a spouse is involved in some extramarital affairs, then the other spouse cannot take action legally against him or her, and he or she cannot beat his or her spouse. Then what is the alternative? How that spouse will sustain? Now these are some of the difficult situation today. And why all these things are happening? It's happening because we are not contributing towards the good, right? We are always expecting that others must do good towards me, and I am absolutely free and there is no control over me. So this is my understanding. Let me ask a question. I have already asked it in my evaluation of this talk, that I'm critical about the state. What is the role of state in this marriage crisis, and what should the state do to sustain the marriage and in return sustain the society? Yes, Dr. Mahapatra.
Exactly. When we think of the state, who are the running state? That is the important, because those who form rule and regulation on behalf of the states, they are powerful and politician ministers. They will not form a rule regulation that will not make them happy. That is the very basic things. Because human beings has various needs. After food, next important thing is sex. Sex is to be regulated, sex to be institutionalized through marriage, because if it is not regulated, then it will have a severe damaging consequence on the society, family. But those who are rich and powerful, they want to have a extramarital relationship. In past, we have seen kings having more queens. Kings were moving whenever they will like, they will marry. So those who have huge money and powers, they want a source of enjoyment. They use the opposite sex as enjoyment. So they will not form rule regulation that will go against this. That is why what you are expecting. That is why you have seen most of our babas, so-called babas, are involved in the sexual scandal. And why that happen? And they are also more powerful. Nobody has thought why they are so powerful, because they provide the safety to persons who are having such sexual illegal activities in their mathas or religious places. And those who get, if anybody having extramarital relation in the hotel or outside, he has very likely to be caught. But in such religious places, they find it is very safe. And so when they get benefit from through Babas, they also provide all type of security, financial benefits. So that is why Babas are more powerful. One important thing, it is sexual desire is not only part of male, it is equally for male. But a female does not like a forced sex. Male likes forced sex. That is only difference. But a desire for both male and female is the same. But our society system has made it just chastity is linked with only female. That is why custom are made to prevent them. So when women also get the scope, when they feel
There
that
is
they
some
do not have a
network.
chance to
There
be
is some
caught,
network problem. I cannot hear you properly, Dr. Mahapatra. Am
can
I
I
audible to
again?
all
eh?
participants? I mean, I'm not sure whether network problem is from my side or from your side. Okay,
Let
Preetish.
me let me rejoin.
Sir, we
Okay,
can hear
Preetish.
you, sir. Sir,
Preetish,
we
can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, Dr. Mahapatra, continue.
Okay. Uh, that is why it is desire. What we think desire, sexual desire is same for both male and women. In some cases, it is more for male. In some cases, it is more for female. Sexual. Remember, one of the most important criteria of a marriage, survival marriage, also sexual compatibility. If one side has higher desire, another side is lower desire, and both do not adjust with each other, then the extramarital relation develops. That is one of the important thing, because it is varies from person to person. That is one of the most important thing of unsuccessful of marriage, because both having different degree of sexual desire. One is higher, one may be lower, or one is when both have same, no problem. When one has a higher, one has very much lower, then one search for another option. That happens in a society which leads to extramarital relation. Our custom, rule, regulation, culture, our society regulates us That is the important. When this social restriction is removed, government court allows court make all these things free, live in relation is allowed, then we are heading for a eventually social collapse. That is happens. Those who are rich and powerful, they when they have enough wealth, they want to enjoy their life and they want to enjoy having with opposite sex. Even those who are it is so for example, many also use women as a instrument of enjoyment as a commodity. They try to use them for gaining power or gaining a business contract. So many things are happening. It is we cannot only blame male, equally also women blame. When a woman is forcibly raped, woman forcibly tortured, forcibly happened, that is we must fight it. But in some cases, woman has consent, but when they face the problem, they tell that once. In all cases, when women are coming with a problem, extramarital relationship, when they are caught, they come. In some cases, they have consent, but they give allegation of rape cases against male. That happens. So we cannot say in all cases male are responsible, female are responsible. This is a basically basic instinct. Problem is linked with the instinct and controlling the instinct with the consent. It does not suppose it does not mean I have to be very clear. It doesn't mean I do not have that desire. I have desire, but what I do.
I let me raise a very important point in this context. I mean, we are talking about the extramarital affair. Now, extramarital affair can be a action, can be a reaction. I mean, in some context, extramarital affair is also legitimate if the spouse is not getting the legitimate kind of response from his or her opposite. Then that spouse is going outside the marriage to get that satisfaction. Now, in that context, suppose one spouse is involved in some extramarital affair, what the other spouse will do? I mean, what is the option for that other spouse? I mean, legally they are free.
That is very serious problem. What is happening? For example, there are many couple. They are remaining in distance place for long times. For example, some are staying in Bhubaneswar. Wife are staying in Bhubaneswar. Their husband is staying in Saudi Arabia or USA, America. So they go. They are forced to go for extramarital because they have also need. That is also reality. So what should be my principle? Husband and wife should stay together always at any case, but together doesn't mean every day, but in most of time at least they should have a chance to meet each other. It should not be a long years gap, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years gap. It may be 1 month, 2 months, or 5 months. That is a different thing. But basically, society should see that both stay together. Government rule regulation in a job position should be stay together. Because in past earlier, women were staying in the village, husband were staying in the town. They were going some occasions into village, but they were restricted. Women were restricted by their family, so they did not able to express ventilate their feeling. But today the society is open, so when their husband is not with them, they are going for extramarital relation. When a husband is away in distance place, a wife is not with, he is going to extramarital because that is one aspect of human life. They are going for rebuilding relationship. This is a very difficult topic because extramarital relation is bad. Having a spouse and to marry someone is bad, but it is also equally responsibility. You cannot keep a husband or wife away from another spouse for a long period. You cannot solve this problem because of so much financial problem. That should be look into the matter. State rule regulations should be like this. That both should be stay together, and particularly, for example, in the case of marriage, one is found to be impotent. Then there should be divorce. One should marry. For example, once a husband has expired, one should be allowed to marry. Once wife has expired, one should be married. But what happens in higher age, when, for example, one has 2 or 3 children, at that higher age, it is difficult to marry for a woman. Male sometimes get married. It is easier for a male, but it's difficult to women. That happens. But society should compare. I am against not against remarriage. I am against extramarital, premarital, or having relation with another when your spouse is existing. But when your spouse is dead, one should be allowed legally, or when there is a legal divorce. Divorce should be legal, because when one is good, another may be
No,
bad.
no, no,
Divorce
sir,
does
no,
not
sir.
happen means all both are bad. Even in many cases, one may be very good, one may be very bad. That means also divorce. But we do not take into consider. We think both are bad. But when divorce is have taken place, then one should be allowed to marry, and the divorce process should be settled in court very quickly. It should not linger 3, 4 years, 8 years, 9 years. That is that court should take into law. And particularly, even today, when children are staying outside, suppose one's wife has expired, one's husband has expired, we do not, people do not find a person to share their emotions. Why some are committing suicides? Because they do not share people to share their emotion, thoughts, feelings, emotions. This is a critical thing one we should think. But what is the important thing? We cannot deprive someone's sexual desire, because this is a part of life. This is the second most important need after food. But that is to be regulated for the betterment of the society, not for it is a crime. And I am totally against live-in relationship. That is it. Why illegal, disastrous for society, causing things. So it is. This is a problem where large crores of people, intellectuals, saints, what we have now have could not solve and find solution. I am a just ordinary man. How can I provide a
No,
solution within a second?
I understand. I understand the complexity of this phenomena, and in modernity, we are also trapped by very dangerous kind of complexity. I have encountered two kinds of people, and one kind of people, they are saying we are interested to marry the job holder, girls. I asked why you want to marry. Now they are telling me that there is no surety that
Hmm.
this marriage will sustain. If there will be any kind of divorce, I will not give any kind of maintenance to them, because they are doing job or minimum maintenance.
Yeah.
There is the second category of individual, they are saying that no, we don't like job holder girls, because job holder girls, they have many side effects also, right? And there are many male job holder, they don't like marrying job holder girls. I mean, it's a very very difficult situation, we are experiencing it. And most of my teachers, they have also experienced, whether it is wise to allow our daughters to hold a job. If there is job, then there is a kind of danger for their marriage also. I mean, how you look at all this?
Exactly. It's a very good question. My wife is also working. That is my I am my wife and both are in the same job, in same
No,
cadre,
no,
in
I'm
same.
sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I mean, we are talking about this generation, and I
No, no, no,
hope
no.
that
I am
your
giving example. What I am telling. What I am telling. Uh, but both do not opt for higher career. Remember, we did not opt for higher career because that will be create
problem.
disturbance, because we both have to stay in different places. So we accepted job, but we sacrificed career. That is important thing. When I am in favor of both should work, because today education has become costlier, health is costlier, life is costlier. You need a vehicle, you need a building, you need a car, you need a accessory. You cannot survive with one income unless you earn huge income. You are a businessman or you have a big job. But in past, people, women have more children, they have to take care. Today, women have one or two children maximum. After children become grow, what they will do? They will start quarreling with a mother-in-law or other, or they will develop negative quality. So they should have job, but when both husband and wife have job, or they are earning, they should adjust with each other. They should treat each other as friend, and they should sacrifice some career. Both should not be optimistic, both should not be careeristic. If somebody has to adjust, somebody they have to sacrifice some career, and they, if they remain in distance places, that should not be huge distance.
And
That should be
more importantly, they need to be very broad-minded as well, right?
definitely, because that will be when you both are on same footing. You have to treat each other friends. Otherwise, it is very difficult to sustain the marriage.
There is a
Because
very nice saying given by Professor Prakash Sadangi. When you are watching a monkey, don't forget that that monkey is also watching you. For example, if the wife is having any kind of narrow understanding towards the husband, then the husband will also have the narrow understanding, and the problem will begin. And the problem will begin. I mean, what you were saying that if I mean you are saying that both should do job because there is the requirement of the money to sustain in a capitalist system. You have there
no,
is cost.
exactly, my view is that both should be job, both should earn. It is not necessarily a job, but both should be earning, because if one has a huge money, that is different thing. Basically, when a woman earns, they have more independence in the family. They have economic independence. They can move. Moving does not mean they should be despotic, but they should have more economic independence. They should earn, but they should not forget their commitment to their family. Father-in-law,
No,
mother-in-law, father. That
one
is there.
thing.
Sometimes they are ignoring this. That is
No, sir.
happening in the society.
One thing, sir. Whatever you are saying, that is a very ideal kind of construction.
Hmm.
But the reality is that the moment you are autonomous, you are independent, then certain kind of despotic character you achieve it. Generally, such thoughts comes to our mind. Ki, okay, if the husband is saying don't go, then the husband is patriarchal. Then I must do it. Uh, because if I will not do, then I will be the victim of patriarchy. Now, the harsh reality is that these modern, couples, there is disturbance in their marriage because with the autonomy, there is also some kind of, despotic tendency that is also, coming with that only right now.
That
To be ethical, to be moral, thinking beyond money, beyond career, and thinking about the higher utility. For that, they require certain kind of training. I think that's the whole
no,
point.
exactly what you have pointed out. That is a very genuine question. You see, when you have any social any problem, law and order problem, or any difference, you can go to court or you get to police. But social problem is such a thing. You cannot go to anywhere. You cannot go to any body also. You cannot share your feeling. Suppose, for example, you have a difference with your wife, or your husband, or your children. Then you cannot tell anybody. You have to cope. You have to cope with this. That is the why social problem, family problem is very difficult to solve, because you have to deal with the human sentiments, and you cannot go to law for solving this. Those who have go
Yes,
to court or law for law, they
law
have
cannot
faced
solve
social
law
problems.
cannot solve this problem.
So that is why very good. Suppose you tell a right thing. For example, your spouse does not agree. She asserts that I am right. Then what you will do? Suppose your spouse says she will not take care of her parents, but you want that she should take care of parents, but she will not do. You cannot do anything. That is why this is the social, this problem, family problem, based on morality. Our religious defines the relation, because those who have created religion has merit and demerit, but both merit. Why in a family, and woman you will treat her as mother, another as a wife, another as a daughter, another as sister. Religion has defined this. Religion has defined the role. So our culture, religion has a good impact on this, but we are violating that. We are respecting our culture. So respecting in a family, basically, when both husband have a different opinion, whose opinion should be accepted? That is the question. Who will decide? Who will decide? That is the important thing. It is society. The court cannot solve it. Court cannot solve it.
Yes.
Who is right? Neither you can go to court, nor you can tell your friend, nor you can disclose it, but you have to adjust. That is the grim reality of married lives. That must be both male and female should understand. Basically, wife must try to cope with the husband unless it affects her independence or affect her family.
Okay, so thank you. I will not ask further questions, but if only 7 participants or 6 participants are left, I mean, if you want to ask question to Dr. Mohapatra, you can ask directly. Any questions you want to ask? Okay, one question is asked by Preetish, that's our judgment of Supreme Court, which have ruled that child born in a living relationship cannot be denied the ancestral property rights to the child born with their relation. How it can save the institution of marriage? I mean, it's a very interesting question. I mean, the living relationship has been equated with the marriage by the Supreme Court.
No, exactly. I am against leadership. It is one should, even if he is age 70 or 80, if his spouse or her spouse is dead or legally they are divorced, they should marry. Marriage does not mean only for sex. It is a sharing of emotions. I am in favor of marriage at any age, even one is going to die. But a live-in relationship is illegal. That is disrupting. That is destroying that society. I am totally against this. But children want to live in relationship should be have ancestral access to ancestral property because children has no fault. If children born before marriage has no fault, you see the life of Karna. Karna was the more stronger than anyone else. It is even Arjun because he faced identity crisis. He was bound to take the side of Duryodhana and he has to succumb. He could not get education properly. Still, he grew in his stature. So, children born to live in a relationship or children born to parents before marriage or thrown out of any places should not be deprived the access to ancestral property. That decision is correct.
Niyat is asking, when a girl is taking education and going for a job directly or indirectly, she is contributing to the society. Yes, sir, we can say that by doing or managing the home affairs is also like contributing to the society. My question is then, can we say that girls should not go for higher education, rather she can go for some ethical education which will beneficiary for our future affairs?
First, we must think gender equality. Gender equality means both male and female will have equal access to all opportunities, facilities. Both should have equal access. So when a girl is born or a boy is born, both have equal access to education, jobs, or anything. But after marriage, they have got a family moral responsibility how they can manage their family. But we cannot say because one should not get job, one should do job. Cannot say one should not pursue higher education. We cannot say only girl will have a pursue ethical education, not boys. Problem not only lies with the girls. Problem lies with the boys. So both should have ethical education. Both should pursue. Both should pursue career because one should have every right to grow, every right to explore, to grow with his talent, ability, personal. We cannot suppress because this will be gender inequality, the gender discrimination. But after marriage, they should have got responsibility to society and family. They should try to remain faithful to marriage, even if they remain distant places. They should have a responsibility to our father, mother, sister, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, their children. That is a question of a morality, but morality is gradually eroded. Trust is
There is
there is a
a
trust deficit. That's the
that's
problem.
true. I mean, I'm bringing a very difficult question. I mean, if there is a situation, in that situation, either that girl has to leave the job or leave the family. In your perception, what that girl should do?
Exactly. I agree. Again, question.
Okay, in some family situation, uh, the girl has two options, either to leave her job
Hmm.
or leave her husband or family. What that girl should do?
If a girl, for example, firstly, a husband should not deprive her wife from any job or profession. First thing. For example, one is a film actress or a job before marriage. One should not marry such type of girl. If one wants that he wants a housewife, he should marry wife. Why
No,
he
my
should
question
marry?
was something different, sir. My question was something
Exactly,
different.
I am telling you. When she has option to either quit a job or quit a husband.
It's a emergent situation.
Hmm.
It's a emergent situation. In that situation, the girl has two options before her: to quit her job or to quit the family life. What that girl should opt?
If one option choice, she should quit job, not family,
Thank
because
you, sir.
she is holding jobs for family. She is not a
Exactly.
for family. She is
Sir,
holding job. So
it's a
how can
very
she quit the family for job?
it was a tricky question, and your answer shows that you are not with the current. I mean, job is a means. Job cannot be an end. And secondly, even if that wife is quitting the job, being the wife, I mean, she has the property right over her husband. I mean, if there is
Yes.
any death of her husband, you know, all the property of her husband will belong to that wife. I mean, I mean, I mean, girls must understand it. कि family is more important than the job, no doubt. In normal time, nobody is against the job if that job is positively contributing to the, family or society. No problem at all. Yes, there is a question asked by Subhasri that sir, Anulama marriage system is justiciable, and how? How Anulama marriage system is justiciable when a uh, girl marries higher caste, then
Hmm.
what type of difficulties come, and how girl face these difficulties?
Exactly. Annulove marriage means a man from higher caste marries a woman from lower caste. The man, girl is from lower caste, male is from higher caste. In past, they were facing problems when they were staying in village. For example, when they are going to village or staying for a long time in village, the village still in caste system exists in the village. I do not think in urban area there are any caste system existing in the urban area. We don't. I don't think so.
No,
So
I think Subhasri is asking a very tricky question.
uh,
The tricky question is that if you look at the Hindu uh, convention, practice, or Hindu rules regulation, then the boy the boy can marry to a girl below to his caste, but the female cannot marry to a boy below to his her caste, right? I mean, if a lower caste girl marries to a higher caste boy, then what difficulties that lower caste girl will face? I mean, that
it
girl
is,
will be.
it depends upon circumstances and where they are staying. If they are staying in the outside the village, there is no problem. Sometimes what happens if when there is a quarrel between husband and wife, a difference of opinion, at that time husbands make remarks about to caste. That happens sometimes. So that happens when you stay for in village. People who talk of this in the urban area, it is other talk. Exactly what I have told. I am intercaste marriage, interfaith marriage. Why society was against this? Not because those who are the low in because of caste. No, way of life is different from person to for example, a person belonging to Muslim community, his way of life will be totally different from our way of life. So if when we marry in that family, Their problem are it is not they are superior or inferior. Similarly, when we marry in a different caste, it is not question. I do not believe in caste system. It is superior or inferior. Question is their way of life is different. But when both are working or both are family is matured, then I think there will be not problem. But in a life, married life, to sustain marriage for longer period, everybody to has to adjust and tolerate. There is no human being in a society who has not adjusted. Everybody adjust.
Actually, the lower caste, I mean, the lower caste family, they are not interested to make their daughter marry to a higher caste. It's because the lady will belong to that, after marriage, the lady will be in that higher caste category. And as a result, they feel that they are, getting alienated from their own daughter, right? So that was the tricky, I mean, in the question of Subhasri. I mean, in a sense, that girl is being alienated from her family, uh, and her family members, they also feel like that.
No, no. Exactly, what you are telling alienated. You also, parents will be also alienated if they give their daughter in marriage in rich families. For example,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
that is also equally true in
uh,
class
for
context
example, you
also.
are an academician. If you give your daughter in marriage for example, in the minister's house, then you will be also alienated. So what I was telling you, have a relation of your same level professional relation is exactly not same, but there should be some similarity, way of thinking, way
What
of
you are
profession.
saying, that within your culture you can marry, so that there will
Yes,
be
yes.
no gap. There will be no gap at all. Right.
Then there will be problem.
There are so many questions, Subhasri. I'm sorry, I cannot take all your question. Okay, let me take your last question. When a girl belongs to be a conservative family, how she can convince their family for a Onulama marriage? It's not
That is
possible.
the that is remember exactly society has not going for intercaste marriage voluntarily. Even whatever one broad-minded may be, in law marriage it is happening. In arranged marriage, when anybody go for in marriage, they go for in their own caste or a little bit up down, minus or plus. But voluntarily, one will go for not go for intercaste marriage. It is only happens in case of law marriage. Only thing is that it is very difficult to convince the parents. But why my views is that I am not against the intercaste marriage, but the culture of the family. That is the important thing. If the culture of family, if their family status, position, status means exactly we do not take in a wrong way of living, way of positions, ideological. If it is similar, then I think parents should agree because we have to gradually accept these changes. Otherwise, how can society changes? That is a very critical question. It is, but one cannot easily answer all these questions because everybody faces problems in his life.
So thank you, sir. I mean, the complexity of marriage, it has neither, I mean, there is no starting point, there is no ending point. The person who is offering the solution, he is also being trapped by multiple complexity within himself. We are just trying to give a solution, but we are not sure whether that solution is really it will solve your problem or not, right? But discussion on marriage is the must, because marriage is biological, marriage is social, marriage is political, marriage is economical also. I think Dr. Mohapatra brought that both the spouse, they should contribute the family economically also. So I think this is how marriage should be dealt by the media, instead of going and reporting, asking the private life, bringing everything, what is within the four walls of a room. The media is trying to bring it to the outside. So that's how recently in Berhampur, that social worker, she also faced the problem from the society. I mean, people ask question that why you are saying that you are the social worker? A social worker must be supported by the society. Society should not oppose to the social worker. So thank you, Dr. Mohapatra.
Thank
We
you.
are at the last part of this event. Now I want Preetish to give you a vote of thanks. Yes, Preetish.
Thank you, sir. It is my privilege to extend the vote of thanks on this webinar talk. I, on behalf of all the participants, extend a hearty vote of thanks to all the participants of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. We have been fortunate to have a renowned personality and our today's guest speaker, Dr. Santosh Kumar Mahapatra sir, to take out time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you, sir, for inspiring us with your words. Your thoughts on type of marriage and institution of marriage is more important and responsibility towards family and social customs. Sir, your views on media should bring the social responsibilities related to marriage issues and should solve the problem. It has really inspired us, sir. We will be thankful to you for being with us today. I also thanks to my research guide, Dr. Himanshu Sekhar Mishra, sir, for giving me the opportunity to express my gratitude to this webinar. Last but not the least, thanks to all the participants for attending the webinar. I once again thanks everyone for making this program successful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay,
Namaste.
thank you, Pritish. Thank you, Dr. Mahapatra. I mean, you
Thank
are
you.
not an expert, but since you are working on the social issues, and I mean, in a sense, you are also a social worker. I mean, what society understand you, projected it before us. I think there are many, few good points are there in your talk. I think intellectuals, they must take these good points before they theorize anything relating to marriage. So thank you, Dr. Mahapatra. Thank you very much.